If you're going to be poor, don't do it on a forgotten alien planet. I learned that the hard way. Planet Gregthor Minor had once been important, but now is just dust, wind, and ruins. The trade lanes moved on, the empire collapsed, and the locals, mostly orcs, stayed because orcs don't abandon places just because they're inconvenient. I, on the other hand, had crash-landed. My name is Evan Holt, professional nobody, and the current owner of a broken scanner, a torn jacket, and an impressive amount of bad luck. I was digging through scrap when I heard laughing. That's never a good sign. Orcs don't sneak. They announce themselves with armor clanks, confident footsteps, and laughter that sounds like a challenge to the universe. Two of them appeared over the ridge, tall, green, muscular, identical. Twin female orcs. They stared at me. I stared at them. One nudged the other. "This one is small. I think he is broken," the other replied. "I am right here," I said. They blinked. Then they smiled. That was worse. Turns out, orcs don't date. They choose. And apparently, I had been selected during something called the Season of Proving Hearts, which I was not informed about. The twins introduced themselves, Grasha, loud and bold, and Braca, quieter with sharper eyes. They explained that strength wasn't just muscle. Survival is strength, Braca said. And stubbornness, Grasha added. I had both. I tried to leave. They picked me up. Their home was a stone hall built into a cliff. They fed me, a lot. Everything tasted like fire and pride. I learned that orc partners share responsibility equally, and that compliments sound like insults. "You fight like a dying goat" is apparently affectionate. They asked about my world. I asked why they didn't just eat me. They laughed for 10 full minutes. Important clarification. I was not a pet, a prisoner, or a sacrifice. I was a chosen partner candidate. This involved learning to cook without fear, training with wooden weapons, and being aggressively defended from curious neighbors. I slept on a fur pile. Braca gave me a blanket. Grasha snored like a war drum, and I realized something terrifying. I felt safe. The first thing I learned about orc culture is that everything important happens in public, and public events involve yelling. Grasha and Braca dragged me into the central gathering circle. Orcs stared, argued, and sniffed the air. One said, "He is thin." Another countered, "But alive." I waved. That was a mistake. Apparently, waving is a challenge gesture. Braca quickly explained I was a chosen companion candidate, which quieted the crowd. Then came the trials of compatibility. I had to endure standing in the sun, answer questions honestly, and refuse to quit when mocked. I passed all 3 accidentally. Grasha and Braca were identical in body, but not in soul. Grasha was fire. Braca was stone. They argued constantly about me. "He should train harder," Grasha would say. "He should survive smarter," Braca would reply. I discovered that orc partners often came in pairs for balance, which was great because I was terrible at balance. My biggest trial was problem solving. A water conduit had collapsed. The orcs planned to lift it with brute force. I suggested redirecting the pressure instead. They stared at me like I'd suggested talking to the rock. Then I fixed it, quietly. The water flowed again. Silence fell. Braca smiled first. Then Grasha slapped my back hard enough to dislocate something important. Small human has clever bones. I had never been so proud. Orcs don't flirt, they declare. Gracia announced loudly that she admired my refusal to give up. Braca said softly that she trusted me. Both were terrifying. They argued again, then laughed, then told me that choosing meant choosing both. I tried to object. They gently reminded me I was free to leave. I stayed. The first time trolls attacked, I grabbed a frying pan. Gracia and Braca were already in full battle armor. "Stay here," Gracia ordered, pointing to a cave. "Keep the food safe." It was the longest 10 minutes of my life. The trolls were loud and brutish, but after a lot of yelling, the fight was over. Gracia slapped me on the back. "Good job, small human. You didn't die." The next week, I was dragged into the rite of strength and bonding. It's where orc couples announce their partnership by wrestling. Yes, wrestling. Braca smiled as she put my hand on Gracia's shoulder. "Now you fight for us, Evan." Gracia immediately swept my legs out from under me. Soon I was pinned, with both twins sitting on top of me, grinning. "I like this tradition," Gracia said happily. Later, sitting around the hearth, Gracia asked, "So, which one of us is your favorite?" I blinked. "How about neither?" Gracia laughed. "Good answer. You are growing strong, human. There was no winning with them." But I realized it wasn't about fighting or favorites. It was about belonging. One evening, Gracia handed me a small bundle of fabric. "It's time for you to join us fully," Braca said proudly. I opened it. A wedding cloak. "We don't have formal proposals, human," Braca explained. "But this is how we show a partnership. You're not just chosen. You're family." I wasn't alone anymore. The final ceremony wasn't a fight or a feast. It was a promise. I stood before their clan and spoke my truth. "I'm not like you, but I don't need to be. I'm with you because I want to be, and I'm not running, not now, not ever." The clan roared in approval. Gracia and Braca smiled. "You'll make a great partner," Gracia said. "You already are," Braca added. And I realized I wasn't just living with orcs. I was home. 2 years passed. One afternoon, Gracia nudged me. "Get ready. It's time for the birth, small human. You are going to be a father." I stared at her, blinking. Wait, what? After a loud celebration, we were joined by the first of many orc-human hybrids, a girl. We named her Kyra. Gracia handed her to me. "She's yours too." "Our daughter." I held my child, and the weight of her grounded me. Kyra grew fast and climbed everything. Orc babies are designed to scale walls, furniture, and sometimes faces. Braca gave her a wooden spear at 5. Gracia taught her how to trust and laugh. I mostly taught her how to use a spoon without throwing it. "She's climbing the walls," I muttered to Gracia one day. Gracia just smirked. Good, she'd be a strong one. As Kara turned 4, I realized our family was a tribe. She commanded the younger children with a fierceness that made Gracia proud. My old, lonely world was now full of chaos, life, and laughter. More orc children, more hybrid children, more climbing. The clan had adopted me, but I had adopted the clan too. Years passed. Gregthul Minor was home. Kara was now training younger children, teaching them to laugh at their own seriousness. Gracia and Braca still bickered over who was the better parent, and me? I was just happy I'd survived becoming a full-fledged orc family member. Watching our children run through the fields, I realized it wasn't about fitting in. It was about being happy where you are. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more.